Morning, guys. Welcome to Coffee Chat. Wow, amazing. Boy, I sure love that. I'll tell you what. And hey, my first sip in the morning, as usual, being shared with you guys. Guys, that's one of my great joys, is to come out here first thing in the morning. And today, boy, is it a scorcher. I'm feeling the sun right on my face there to come out here and just share my first start of my day with you guys. It is quite amazing. Now, I remember the days when I was absolutely a commuter like most of you are. And you know how it is. You know, you're getting the kids all ready. You're getting ready. One's going this way, one's going that way, getting them all in the car and this and this and that. And I'll tell you what, it's like a frenzy just to get yourself out the door. I sure remember what that was like. And I'll tell you what, I absolutely commend you for doing it, because I'll tell you, it takes guts in these days to get out there and absolutely just continue on with life, considering all that's going on in the wild world. That is for sure. Well, guys, something else. The article that I was reading today, boy, oh boy, this is absolutely a big tell. Now, it was talking about corporate bankruptcies here in America and how they are massively on the rise. And we're not talking just little, pipsqueak organizations. We're talking about things like Party City, Bed Bath & Beyond, Serta, Simmons, the mattress company, and the big one that we all know about is Silicon Valley Bank, and on and on and on. And they're saying that, hey, if you were to take, the 2020 deal out of the picture, that we haven't seen this level of corporate bankruptcy since 2010. Now, just think about that. I mean, if you really want to get your pulse on what's going on in the wide world and in the real economy, what are we talking about when we're talking about all these big-time corporate bankruptcies? Well, guys, they wouldn't be going bankrupt if you had a lot of folks out there absolutely buying all the products, would you? Not a chance. Because why? They'd have their bottom line down there. Most likely, they would be seeing an upsell because of all the purchasing that's going on. So that, number one, tells you that consumers out there aren't out there shopping in the way in which they did before. Number two, what are we talking about? Well, hey, what about all the creditors that funded these businesses with their operating lines of credit and things like that, and now are not even going to get paid, or if they do get paid, it's going to be pennies on the dollar? You don't think that's going to have big-time reverberations in the broader economy? You better believe it will. Why? Because those banks are lending out our money, aren't they? It's that whole fractional reserve banking system. It's not coming out of thin air, and that's what's going on. It's us that are actually, losing out big time, because they certainly pass a lot of those losses down on us as the consumer and those that deposit in the bank. So there's that. Third thing you're talking about is the loss of all those jobs. Now, all those folks that were employed, and not just, your retail clerks and all that, but what about the administration side of it? The accountants, the this, the that, all of the management team and everything like that. All those executives, all those people like that, they're out of jobs too. And of course, that's going to have a big impact in the marketplace. And then obviously, the spin-offs of all that, those people that lost their jobs having to go out to find new ones if it's possible, and how it affects their family and their more. I mean, it is just a cascading domino effect like we cannot believe. Now, I remember when I was up there working in the tax department, I had to deal with these bankruptcies and all that goes on with them. Guys, I'm telling you, it is one of the most dragged out, mud-slinging things you would ever want to go through, and to see how and what goes on. And a lot of times, it's not the little guy, it's not the big guys that really pay, it's the little guys. Because, of course, big guys will go out there, they're filing their proofs of claim, and it's all based on a pro rata percentage, and most of them are secured in some way, so they don't even have to file proofs of claim, the way in which you would think as an unsecured creditor in the bankruptcies. So, they're protected, but it's all the unsecured folks that are protected. And one thing I almost forgot. Think about the investors in these corporations and how their portfolios have been affected as a result of all this stuff. And to cover those losses, hey, they're liquidating out of the stuff to do it. It is big-time effects. Now, guys, one of the things that I think is absolutely amazing in this whole deal is this. Back there, now, if you were to put in the whole, thing that was going on, and, when they had shut the whole wide world down, and all that, and a lot of companies, hey, we saw some big surge in insolvency events then too. What happened after that? It's something that is absolutely mesmerizing, and for a lot of us doesn't even make sense, does it? We saw one of the biggest bull runs in history of the world, and literally made millionaires during that period of time. I know when Judy and I got into this space, it was right during the very height of that deal back there in March of 2020, and in 1 year it revolutionized our lives. Guys, just because we're seeing all this happen over here does not mean we may not see a big surge over here. And in fact, I was reading another article, and of course they were focusing on this whole Jackson Hole deal and what Jerome Powell's going to say. And in the article, there's a lot of these guys that are out there saying, hey, listen, after this whole Jackson Hole deal that goes down, we are probably going to see a big time surge in the Dow. Initially, it's going to go down a bit, but then it's going to go way, way up. And this is what they're thinking. It could potentially be one of the last big surges we ever see. Now, I've watched Blockchain Backer a bit, and I know a lot of you follow Blockchain Backer, but one thing that he's pointed out that I really think is fantastic, I haven't heard too many other people talk about this, but he was looking like on a 100-year chart from, way back in the last Great Depression kind of deal, and how the Dow has just been going up like this, and it's getting way, way up there. Now, he says, hey, the last time that the Dow touched the 4.236 Fibonacci, it was after that there was this monumental collapse. And he says, listen, we're, literally just climbing up there, marching up the stairs. Now, in the Dow, it didn't take a lot more time than it does in this space to hit some of those targets. But he says, listen, it may be that this could be one of the biggest bull runs that we have in that capacity where it goes up and hits that. But after that, the crash that could be coming could be absolutely cataclysmic like we have never, ever seen. And guys, we're seeing the symptoms all through the market. It is absolute pandemonium chaos. You got over here things collapsing. And by the way, in every sector of the economy, big time bankruptcies. And then you got this going on and that going on. And we see the de-dollarization around the world with the attack on the US dollar, especially with Saudi Arabia selling its oil in other currencies other than the US dollar. And on top of that, China taking a big, big bite out of the liquid natural petroleum market in a powerful way. And we got our own allies like France buying it in the multiple tens of thousands of tons in Chinese yuan. So we're seeing all of these indicators all around that a big change is on the way, and it's going to affect all of us to some degree. Now, hey, we could be relatively insulated a little bit by getting into this space. I can tell you with absolute certainty, Judy and I, back there, when we got into this whole thing in March of 2020, the only thing that we were looking at doing is to preserve our purchasing power because of all the helicopter money that was going on out there. I'll tell you something. It blew our expectations away in ways we can't even describe, and we didn't even know the difference at the time. And I'm telling you guys, it feels just like then. It feels exactly what's going on. If I had, all of that kind of stuff like I was back then, I'd be making the exact same decisions and trying to get out from under it and insulate ourselves for the coming impacts. But guys, I'm telling you, what's about to happen and what's about to come, I believe is going to be absolutely probably one of the greatest wealth transfers in the history of mankind. I genuinely believe that. Because as they transition us into this new digital asset space, it is going to be absolutely phenomenal. Most people are completely oblivious to it. I mean, you just have to do a canvas out in your, at your office, down your street or whatever. And yeah, a lot of people say, oh, I've heard about Bitcoin or this or that. But none of them, probably very few of them will know about VeChain or Cardano or, XRP or Stellar Lumens or any of these other ones, Hedera Hashgraph. I mean, they will have absolutely zero clue. And then when you try to tell them, they're like, yeah, but I don't know. When the very it's happening right before their very eyes. I mean, we're talking about the evolution of money and the introduction of central bank digital currencies. And you got 90% of nations in the world out there approaching Ripple to ask their assistance in the development infrastructure for their central bank digital currencies. Guys, literally the evolution of money. Yet they can hear that, they can see that, and they just won't believe that. That's what's going down the pike right now. But for those of us that have had the gumption and the foresight to get involved, in my estimation, it's probably one of the greatest things, one of the greatest blessings that ever crossed your path, you know, financially, at least in this world, aside from knowing Christ, that's for sure. Guys, you got to keep your fingers on the pulse of what's going on out there. And you can't, you know, most people are just not even reading these articles. They don't even see or know or what's going on in the wide marketplace. You know, they just say, hey, Bed Bath & Beyond has a liquidation sale. Let's get some stuff cheap and go in there and stuff like that. They're not thinking about the broader implications. Most aren't. And that's just the way it is. They've dumbed us down where we're not even using critical thinking. Hey, debate doesn't even exist anymore. If you don't like another person's opinion, you just don't hear to tolerate or whatever. That just seems to be the way it goes. Guys, don't lose it. Don't lose your balance, your critical thinking, your ability to kind of see through the fog, because I'll tell you, that's what they want to do. They want to keep all the fog going out here, keep us all distracted over here while all this goes on over here. Don't you know it? That's what's going on. Well, I'll tell you guys, I think you're a whole lot smarter than that. This community is the best community in all of crypto. I genuinely believe it. I really love you guys. You've been an amazing support to Judy and I, to be sure. And guys, I'll tell you what, we got a great video planned for you later on today. And until then, I sure hope you're having a fantastic one, and take care.